All right, ladies and gentlemen, as always, thanks for being here. Couple of things before we get started. It just got announced this morning that next week's game at Marshall will be at 11 a.m. Central, and that'll be on Fox Sports Net. So to get things started this week, I'd like to bring up head coach Rick Stockstill.
All right, again, like Mark said, appreciate you guys coming. Another exciting week. We got Southern Miss coming to town. It's the first time, that they'll have been here. I think they're a much improved football team from last year. I think they're really, really good up front on defense. They're active. They're big. They can run. Their secondary is physical, and they got a couple guys back there that can run also. And I think it's going to be a really good challenge for our offense in competing against them defensively. Offensively, they got their quarterback back. He started, last year as a true freshman. To me, he's making better decisions. He's playing better than what he did last year. Looks like they're giving him more to do, putting more on his plate compared to last year. So they're an up-tempo team. They'll change formations on you. With personnel groupings, so we've got to be ready for their tempo defensively. And they're very sound in the kicking game. They don't make mistakes in the kicking game. So it'll be it's a great challenge. We've got to make sure we have a phenomenal week of practice. We correct the mistakes that we made in the Old Dominion game, because if we don't, then it's going to be a struggle moving the ball against this defense. So look forward to playing it. We had a good practice yesterday, and look forward to this week's practices. So I'll open it up to you guys.
The last 2 weeks, of course, you guys have been on the road. Of course, this weekend's a big weekend with it being Hall of Fame weekend. Just talk about what's the mood with the team, especially getting the chance to come back home this week.
Well, I think, we're a confident football team. I think going up to Old Dominion and playing in that environment, it was a packed house. It was loud, They've won a bunch of games there. It was a night game, 8 o'clock, a long time in the hotel. I thought we handled it very well. To go on the road and play as well as we did, it shows that we're a confident football team, in all three phases of the game. So I know we're anxious to be at home again. We take pride in playing well at home, and we've done that so far, this year. And so I think the mood of the team, David, is we're a hungry team. We're not satisfied with where we are. We're not satisfied with what we did last week. We're hungry and anxious to get out there and play this game against Southern Miss.
I know you touched in your opening statement about how good the Southern Miss defense is. I'm just reading on their stats. They're number 27th in red zone defense. Of course, you guys have one of the top red zone offenses so far this season. What kind of challenge would that be for you guys this Saturday?
Well, we've been good. The only time we've been stopped is when you look at yourself. We've stopped ourselves with 2 fumbles last week. And that was the disappointing thing about the game to me was, as a coach, it's hard to enjoy the win when you left so much else out there on the field. And those 2 fumbles, left a sour taste in my mouth. And talked about it yesterday, and we're going to get it corrected this week. And but you can't you can't leave points on the field like we did against Old Dominion. Southern Miss is really good down there, and so we've got to play better. And it's more about it's coach cliche, I guess, but it's about us. We got to go down there and control what we can control, and that's protecting the football. And if we'll do that, we've proven that we can score and score against anybody.
Coach, right here. Does it concern you a bit? You get out to a 24-0 lead, and maybe your guys, I don't want to say pulled back a little bit, but you kind of let them back in the game. Does that concern you at all?
Well, you know, to me, again, you got to give them credit. We got up 24-0. You know, we knew they could score. So it's 24-7 at the half. You know, we didn't take the foot off the gas. We didn't relax. You know, the thing to me is when they scored to make it 24-14 there in the third, we came right back and answered and made it 31-14. Then they answered to make it 34-20 or 31-24. Then we answered after their score. So we answered each score. When we got stopped offensively, our defense got a stop from them. You know, we stopped them on defense. You know, so I was proud of how we played the second half. The one turnover down there, you know, again, just leaves a sour taste in your mouth. But I was proud of how we played, and every time they scored, we answered the bell offensively. And then if they stopped us, our defense stepped up and stopped them. So, you know, they've been averaging a bunch of points. They've scored a bunch of points this year. And, you know, so to be able to hold them, you know, to 28 was, you know, a nice job by our defense.
Coach, you mentioned how improved Southern Miss is. You know, they're a program that kind of fell on a little bit of hard times, but seemed to be, you know, coming back to what Southern Miss football is all about, I guess. What side of the ball are they most improved on? I know you mentioned the defense, but like you just got done saying, they're putting up a lot of points too. So where do you see the most improvement?
I think they're improved as a football team. You know, and that encompasses all three phases. They're better in the kicking game. They're better offensively. They got more confidence, I would think, in their quarterback now that he's played, you know, 5 games this year and what he played last year. You know, their defense is, you know, last year they were giving up a ton of points. And, you know, this year they're not. You know, they gave up points to Mississippi State and to Alabama, but everybody's giving up points to them. And, you know, so I just think they're playing harder. The games are competitive now, where last year, you know, they weren't. And you know, so it's a faster football team, and it looks like on film to be a bigger, more physical football team than what they were last year.
In the press box before the game, there were 2 guys that I said on Friday, or 2 guys that we were talking about, Leighton and Kevin, both 2 of your really good playmakers, and they both really made some plays on Friday night. Let's start with Kevin first. Just tell me about the junior. I mean, I know he's one of your captains, you know, or has been, and a guy in the back of your defense that's a leader. Where is he at with his game? Can he get better from here?
Absolutely, he can get better. And, you know, he played well against Old Dominion, and I've said it many times, you know, Kevin studies the game. He's up in our offices all the time. He's a very instinctive football player. He's a smart football player. And, you know, some of it is natural God-given ability. Most of it is his preparation and how he prepares mentally and physically for each week. And, you know, he made a nice play, you know, on the punching the ball out on the fumble. You know, he makes a nice play on the interception. He makes a nice play, you know, on the punt return there. So he's just a good football player that is successful or has success or is a good player because of how hard he works, how hard he practices. He doesn't take, you know, a rep off in practice. If he's not in the actual practice part of that play, he's getting a mental rep, you know, so it's a credit to him and how he prepares himself, not only physically but mentally for each game.
And then Leighton, too. I mean, getting really close to an all-time program record.
Leighton's, again, just he's a phenomenal person, a phenomenal young man off the field. And, you know, I tell our team all the time, you got to win off the field before you can win on the field. And Leighton wins off the field. He does everything right off the field, therefore he's going to have success on the field. And, you know, I thought our offense, or our team, we got up last week against Old Dominion, and we made them one-dimensional for a long period of time. You know, where they couldn't they weren't going to run the ball. They don't run it a whole bunch anyway. They ran it a bunch against Rice, but they weren't able to do that against us. And when you make a team one-dimensional like we did, then Lalo was able to, pin his ears back and get after him. I thought he, had some great speed rushes. He did some nice, gave their guy, changed it up, gave him some moves, different pass rushes, and was able to get to their quarterback twice. And he's had a very, very successful career here. He's a very unselfish player. He understands his role and how he can help the team. He's embraced it, and he's a special man, and he's also a very special football player.
They have been a very opportunistic defense, kind of like you guys were on Friday night. I think they're 11 turnovers already through 5 games, and like you mentioned, a couple of those are against some top 10 football teams. When you're playing a defense like that, any extra preparation, how do you prepare for an opportunistic defense?
You prepare yourself, and it's not about Southern Miss's defense. It's not about Old Dominion's defense or whoever we play. It's about us, Middle Tennessee, protecting the football. And, that's on us. How you secure the football when you carry it, when you throw the ball, you're going to the right guy. You're fundamentally sound when you release the ball. You're protecting your quarterback where he's not getting hit, where he's got people in his face where he can't throw it. It's about us, and give Old Dominion credit. They knocked 2 of them out. But if we're fundamentally sound, if we protect the ball like we're supposed to, they don't get it out. So it's not about Southern Miss's defense being opportunistic. It's about Middle Tennessee, doing your job and protecting the football.
The running game, you mentioned how important it is to, going against a pretty big defensive front that they've got. You got a little momentum on Friday night against Old Dominion. I know JB had that first fumble in the first quarter. I know he didn't come back in. Is this going to mean maybe now a 3-headed backfield instead of a 4-headed, or where are we at with the running game as you head into this?
Shane Tucker fumbled, and he went back in. Jordan Parker fumbled earlier in the game and got it back, and he went back in. They're not going to go right back in. They're going to spend a little bit of time on the hardwood over there with us to emphasize the point. But I've got a ton of confidence in Jeremiah. Got a ton of confidence in Shane. They made a mistake. They got to learn from it and get better. But no, we're still, they haven't proven that they can't hang on to the ball on a consistent basis. When somebody proves that they can't hang on to it, then they'll spend more time over there. But I've got a ton of confidence in all four of our backs.
3 straight night games, really early kickoff Saturday, and then next Saturday too, as it turns out. How do you change the mindset of those guys after basically a month they've been getting ready to go late? You flip the switch or anything there?
Gotta be mentally tough. I mean, you can paint it any way you want, but you got to get up and play. And I told them yesterday, you can't wait to get a good night's sleep on Thursday night. You got to get your rest, Sunday through Friday. Saturday we'll get them up early. Pregame meal will be at 7 o'clock. So they've got to take care of their body. And it's all about being a professional, doing the right things and understanding that you're not going to get a whole bunch of sleep, Friday morning or Saturday morning. We're going to get you up. So you can look at it any way you want. 8 o'clock Eastern time, first time we played on an Eastern time zone. It's part of being mentally tough and being able to handle long stretches at the hotel. And I thought we did a great job. I thought our players were very focused. I thought we had a great mental preparation all week last week in preparing for Old Dominion, the long stay at the hotel, and then them telling us it's going to be a 40-minute drive from the hotel to the stadium, and it ends up being 13 minutes. But I thought our guys handled everything very professionally and in a first-class manner, and it showed on the field.
Coach, I know you weren't able to convert those first 2 turnovers, I think, into any points. But how were those early turnovers key to the momentum of the game?
Well, we had 4 turnovers, and really we had 3 opportunities to score points, because on the last one we just ran out the clock. So really we did our job with that 4th turnover. We ran out the clock and didn't give it back to them. So we converted one of them. It gave the defense confidence, and I think it probably gave the offense confidence to know, hey, we're going to get a bunch of at bats tonight. We're going to get some at bats, and we got to take advantage of it. That was a disappointing thing, You got to get turnovers, but probably more important than getting turnovers are when you do get them, you got to score, and we didn't do that. And that was a disappointing thing, especially the reasons why we were stopped on that first one. We had 2 missed assignments, one on a screen. We blocked the wrong guy out there, in space. The other one, we had a penalty. We had jumped off sides. Had another one, a receiver misread a signal. So, again, it was about us. We had some miscues on that first drive that we've got to be able to handle better. So, but, yeah, I think it gave the defense probably some confidence, because how explosive their offense is, to know that, we got a turnover on the first play when they throw it 50 times last week and don't throw an interception. So I thought it probably gave a shot in the arm to our defense.
And speaking of the turnovers and just the defense in general, how were they able to get so many sacks and get all those turnovers, and how were they just able to attack pretty much the whole game?
Well, you've watched us play. We play extremely hard. We play with relentless effort in every phase, offense, defense, kicking. But our defense plays fast, play very physical, play very tough. Again, we made them one-dimensional, and where they had to abandon the run. And when that happens, when there's no threat of a run, when Lalo and Schubert and those guys hey, this is a pass. I don't have to worry about the run. I can pin my ears back and let it roll. It makes it hard for those guys to be stopped. But just how hard we play, the effort that we play with. When you play hard, when you finish plays, when you play physical, it enables you to create turnovers. And we were fortunate the other night that we got 4 of them.
And then can you just speak about Austin's performance? Because I know he was really efficient, and he had a career high in completions on Friday.
Yeah, I thought he played well. And we're going to be better throwing the ball the more effective we are running the ball. And, I thought, again, I'll say it when he does it, the best thing he did was he didn't turn the ball over. I didn't think he played very well at Memphis. Part of it was we couldn't establish the run, and we got one-dimensional. We got behind the clock and had to throw it more than we liked to. But he's got to do a better job protecting the ball than what he did at Memphis, and he did that. And when he's been efficient is when he's not turned the ball over, and he did that. He protected it against Western Kentucky. He protected it against Old Dominion, and Savannah State. So he did not at Minnesota. He did not at Memphis, and there's a direct correlation with that. So, but I thought he played really well. I thought he played smart. Got sacked one time there on the first drive. But other than that, he threw the ball away, avoided sacks, avoided negative plays, and was able to make some plays with his feet, convert some first downs, and he got a couple touchdown runs in there. So I thought he played really well.
Rick, in any way, is it more fun to win a game on the road than it is at home?
To me, we were the underdog going there. We were the underdog. We went up there, with something to prove. And, when you had 20,000 people, cheering against you, we played like we were the home team because they had a whiteout for us. And so we really thought they were cheering for us. And But yeah, it was enjoyable. Anytime, I say it all the time, when people don't think you can do something and you prove them wrong and you do it, that makes it that much more satisfying. And nobody thought we were going to beat Old Dominion. We were picked, whatever it was, 4-point dogs. And so nobody thought we'd do it. It's a chance to go up there on national television and prove people wrong. And that's what we did, and that's how we played. So I don't want to say going on the road and winning is more satisfying than winning at home. But I will say when people don't think you can do something, it is more satisfying. And they didn't think we could get it done at Old Dominion.
You mentioned a couple of answers ago that they told you it'd be a 40-minute ride to the stadium. It only took 13. Were there less fans? Or?
No, we left at 5 o'clock, and they were saying because of rush hour, we had an escort, and the escort was awesome. But they were saying because of the rush hour, 5 o'clock traffic there, and having to go through the tunnels that you have to over there, that you may get hung up in some traffic there. So, but it was a breeze. I prepared for it as a team. And I told our team Friday night that, and they did tell us it may not take that long, but they anticipate at least 30 minutes. And I said we may get there early. That you got to manage that extra 30, 35 minutes in the locker room that you normally don't have, and our players did that.
And to get off to a 2-0 start in Conference USA, I know that the conference season is long, but can it set a tone that you'd love to have around here?
No doubt. That was, again, it's one game at a time. You want to get to 1-0, you want to get to 2-0, now you want to get to 3-0, and it gives you that much more confidence. Like you said, it's a long road. But early in the season, getting started off at 2-0, you're not playing catch up now. You're the lead dog. You're the leader. People are trying to catch you, and so we've put ourselves in a good position after 2 weeks.
Isaiah, the running game got going on Friday night for you guys. It just kind of seemed to get a little momentum early, and then, fumbles aside, Jordan really started to pull off some yards towards the end of the game. Tell me about that. Why were you guys able to be so successful against the Old Dominion team that, had held a couple opponents, to some low totals?
I think the biggest thing was just how poor we played against Memphis. We had a lot to prove. We wanted to come out and prove that we could run the ball, and we did that. Ran for 280 yards. Jordan did a really good job. I always think that with the more carries he gets, the better he gets, and he proved that. They had another 100-yard game, and he really played well, so that's what that was.
Like Coach got done saying, every time Old Dominion would answer, you guys either on offense would answer with a touchdown or, they would answer with a stop and give you guys the ball back. What kind of momentum and psyche does that give your team when you guys seemingly can just go out there and every time the opponent kind of gets a little closer, you guys can go, answer and pull back away?
Well, I think that just goes back to camp. All camp long, Coach Stock prepares us. We do situations all season long. We do a lot of sudden change, turnaround, and we understand the importance of if we have a lead and the opposing team goes out and score, we have to counter that. We have to put up points too as well.
One of your fellow captains, Kevin, KB, he's having a pretty good year so far. 3 picks, had a really good game on Friday night. Is he the captain of that team? I know him and TT both. I know there's some really good leaders over there, but just kind of being a team captain, then you're one of the guys on offense. Tell me about your fellow captain on the defensive side.
Kevin just works extremely hard, just like Coach said. He does things when nobody's looking, when the coaches aren't paying attention. He's doing his job. He does a good job of motivating and leading that whole secondary. And just plays like the other night, receiver streaking down the field, looks like they're about to score. And he's hustling, makes a play for us, and gets a turnover. That's just what Kevin does. He runs a punt back for us. He's just a really skilled player, and he does it for the team, and that's the biggest thing.
How's the mindset change from a 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock starts to now 11 a.m. You got to be up and ready to go Saturday morning?
Just got to be physically locked in, mentally locked in, ready to go. Like you said, playing 8 o'clock is one of the latest games I've played here. Just a quick turnaround. Just wake up in the morning and go handle business.
Isaiah, what's it like to be the lead dog in Conference USA?
It's always good. You know, it's kind of set up to where we've already played 2 games, and teams haven't really played many conference games. But we just want to feed off that and continue to hold that down, and hopefully, because of our dream, one of our team goals is to play for the conference title. So that's what we're going for.
Doing good, man. How are you?
Doing good.
Tell me about Kevin. Had a really good game on Friday night. Just every time you guys seemed to, I mean, I know you had a really good game too, but in the back half of your defense, he just really seemed to take control on special teams as well on Friday night. Tell me about him. I know he's a guy that you played with for a few years now.
Yes, sir. He's a phenomenal person, phenomenal player, and a great teammate and great leader. You just love being around him. He always gets the team excited, even in practice. If you see the way he practices, then you'll be like, oh, it's not surprising why he would take that kick right back to the house, why he would have that interception and that great play he made on the sideline when he forced the fumble. He's just a great player all around. He practices like he plays.
He's always got a ton of energy too. I mean, he's a really good interview for me because, I mean, he wants to be there. When you have a guy on your defense that's bringing that type of excitement and enthusiasm, how much does that pick the rest of the other 10 players on the field up?
Well, you know what they say, iron sharpens iron. And you have to have a great player just to make the rest of your team great. You can't have a great defense without a whole bunch of great players on your team, and you always have to have someone who gives you that spark, and he's that guy that will help us get a spark every single time. Coach Nix talked about it Sunday night. He said you have to have the bell ringer, and he's a great bell ringer. Brings up the team, and he gets you encouraged, gets you excited. He doesn't encourage using negativity. He's always positive and always looking forward to making the next play and challenging his other teammates to rise to the occasion.
Find this quote from Coach. What did he say? He said, you've got to win. This was what he's talking about you. You got to win off the field before you can win on the field. When you hear your head coach say that about you, what does that make you feel like?
It makes me feel like I'm doing my job, because when he brought me in here, he said, you're here to go to school and to play football. And the first thing he said was to go to school, because you can't get on the field without going to school. It's just my responsibility that I owe to the coaches and to my family and myself to do things right off the field and on the field.
You guys are going to go, I think you've been underdogs like the last 4 weeks. Now you're going to get a Southern Miss team at home in front of your home fans where you guys are kind of going to be the clear favorite. How does that mindset have to change, or does it change at all for you guys?
The mindset doesn't change. We have a poster in our locker room that says every day, prove it every single day. Prove it every day. So every single time we go on that field, we have something to prove, whether it's all about us. So prove it to ourselves and prove it to everybody else. That's always our mindset. Whatever we have to do that day or that week, we always make sure we set out to achieve that task.
Leighton, a lot of times great seasons come about because of fast starts, get off on the right foot. Here you are 2-0 in Conference USA. How do you think that can help you guys going forward and maybe turning this into a season to remember for this team?
Well, you always want to have a fast start, especially when you're trying to go to a conference championship. It's harder to go when you have a slow start, because now you may need help in the conference, but right now it's all about us. 2-0 in the conference means it's all about you, and you have to stay ahead and always prepare every single week like it's your last game.
Is it easier to kind of be out front because you know everybody's chasing you and you're not having to do any of the chasing, you're just having to take care of your own business?
Yes, sir, because at the end of the day, you only want to have to worry about yourself. You don't want to have to look over another team's shoulder hoping that someone else wins so you could be back in the race. It's great to be out in front just to be able to maintain everything that you started.
Leighton, of course, you and the rest of the defense were able to get great pressure on Friday. How were you guys able to get such great pressure on their quarterback, and how do you carry that into this game against Southern Miss?
Well, we've been working on that for the past few months, since the spring, actually. So it's great that we finally started getting the pressure that we needed. We just need to maintain the practice that we do and keep focusing and keep attempting to make great strides. I was talking to Dro actually this morning about it. He was just telling me about how to get better pressure on the quarterback, and that's going to be our goal for the rest of this season and especially this week.
Have a good day.
Thanks, everybody. Just want to remind you, we'll be back here next week. Let's get ready for Marshall, and look forward to seeing you on Saturday.